Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Filthy versus Idra. Now, this is the first time I'll ever say it. It's the Filthy Terran versus the Idra Zerg. Sorry, just had to say that once just because people seem to think that Terran, some people think they're OP, some people not. But let me just get straight to the game. We have we have the red Terran player Filthy spawning at the 7 o'clock location. Meanwhile, we have Idra spawning at the 12 o'clock location on the north side of the map. Excuse me, as the green Zerg. So this is Zerg versus Terran here on Metalopolis, and hopefully this game does not disappoint. Now, straight off the bat, you're going to see, based upon the spawning locations, that there are a number of different options that the players can try to go for. Because this is going to be a far spawn, I think that Idra will be able to utilize his natural expansion and perhaps even this high ground expansion very, very easily, and be able to get a very strong macro style of play going. Normally, Idra doesn't do any really early rushes. He likes to use Bling Mutaling a lot, where he uses Banelings, Mutalisks, and Zerglings in order to try to counter the siege tanks and the Marines, siege tank and the Marines and Marauders of the Terran army. And it really just boils down to who is able to micro a little bit better. You can see Filthy now setting up a refinery over here, does have this barracks on the low ground. So he is going to complete this wall in very, very quickly. And then a drone will not be able to come up that ramp at all. So that is going to be a little bit of an issue, as Idra now opens up with a hatchery on the low ground even before scouting his opponent. The second Overlord now continuing to fly out, and more drones are still being created. So this is starting to look very, very good for Idra, as Idra should be able to get a strong economy going. I'm just basing upon what I know of these players. No disrespect to Filthy. Filthy may be able to prove me wrong and just be able to completely roll over and beat Idra, and then Idra will have plenty to complain about, as he is one of the more well-known foreigners who was in Korea for a while. We'll see if he ever makes the trip back. And SCV now will be able to move off to the north-hand side and begin scouting in just a moment. We are getting an early Reaper, and normally an early Reaper indicates to me that we should be trying to go for perhaps a fast expansion at some point. The reason why is Reaper gives you a lot of map presence, a lot of map control, and with that map presence and map control, you can try to control and delay Zerglings from getting inside your base. And by delaying those Zerglings, you can have your command center be built in peace. We can already see now Queen now being trained up. A second Queen most likely will be queued up as well in just a moment, as we are now getting a second Reaper out. That Reaper just going to be able to shoot down that drone very, very easily. 2 more shots and it will get taken down. Down it goes. SCV now making its way to the low ground, and oh, there is actually enough room right there for that SCV to scoot out of there. Command center now being built, so there will be a fast expansion attempt. The Overlord will slowly make its way over and scout that out in just a moment. The Zerglings of Idra are going to be able to catch up to that SCV very easily, but Idra, very well aware of the Reaper that is around the map, deciding to back off, as it doesn't want to try to go toe-to-toe against a Reaper, especially without the metabolic boost. The Reaper is able to two-shot any Zergling and shut it down relatively early. So the Reaper dealing 18 damage per attack, a significant amount of damage. Even if there is 1 tick of health regeneration, the Zergling will get destroyed. So the Reaper now moving across the map, and perhaps is it going to jump up? I do not believe so, as perhaps he is waiting for a brother in arms. So we are going to have 2 Reapers, no third Reaper, just a Marauder, and now a factory currently being built on that front door. So the Reapers used more as map presence, perhaps trying to shut down some of Idra's in the field Zerglings, but there are not that many Zerglings to be had or to be found anywhere else. We are seeing that 36 food compared to 27, so Idra very much on top of his economy. If you take a look at the unit count, 28 drones compared to 23 SCVs, and without dealing any serious damage towards the economy, I think that it's going to be very difficult for Filthy to even train up enough SCVs, especially if he's not currently training any SCVs at all. So with no SCVs being trained, that is going to be very, very difficult. And now another barracks being built. One Reaper trying to position itself. Oh, very nicely done. Getting up onto the high ground and then jumping to the low ground in order to get some distance. And now a fresh Reaper, Marauder, and oh, nicely done there. Down goes that other Reaper, even though the metabolic boost was completed. Another factory. being built, so we are going to have some blue flame Hellions, and that is the perfect counter to a power droning Zerg. Those blue flame Hellions getting off 2 rounds of attack, able to kill a large number of drones, perhaps even 5 to 6 if you are able to line them up correctly and try to reset Idra's advantage. If you look at his economy right now, 39 harvesters compared to 27, it may not look like that much of a difference, but remember that he's also harvesting a lot more gas, 50% more gas than his opponent at this stage. Overlords are in position. It looks like they will get destroyed and shot out of the sky in just a moment. And I could have sworn that this barracks was being built a long time ago, and now it's still getting reset. Oh, another scouting barracks. So Filthy using scouting barracks and in the sky in order to figure out what exactly his opponent is doing. Think of it as a very slow moving observer that has a lot of hit points, is revealed, but doesn't cost any gas. So another barracks being laid down, Filthy opting to use those barracks, and it does give you a lot of site information and is a little bit more economical than scanner sweep. So we'll see if that becomes more popular style of play as Filthy now moves out with these Hellions. The Hellions do have that blue flame research and are able to toast some of those Zerglings already, but the Roaches on creep able to catch up to those Hellions, or at least prevent those Hellions from being able to deal that much damage. The barracks is now on fire, so that barracks will slowly burn and get destroyed. You can see another barracks now lifting off once again in order to gain more sight, and that is just probably very annoying for Idra, knowing that he is constantly being revealed. There are a couple overseers now on the move, so 2 overseers on the move. I don't see any banshees, so those overseers are not going to be able to act as good detectors to detect anything, but they are moving fairly quickly and will be able to scout out. You can see the barracks once again in the air, just scouting out his opponent, the Hellions, trying to figure out how much damage they can really do, as the overseers are now going to fly straight into the base. 3 overseers running straight into the base now, and with no missile turrets and no barracks, those overseers are going to get plenty of sight and scouting information as well. So Idra, now with a lot of energy for contamination, will be able to shut down the production, perhaps shut down the production on the armory, on the barracks there. Oh, there is a Thor out, but that factory is currently being delayed. Another Thor is being trained up on the other side, and is he just going to be able to constantly chain those chain the production buildings and just constantly try to delay it? That would be absolutely funny if he was able to win the game with mass overlords, overseers, as overseers do not cost any food and are able to halt production. It looks like it does want to try to contaminate one more time. There you go, contaminating another one. It's going to at least shut down this factory for 30 seconds once again, as another factory being built down. So Filthy getting a lot of Thors now, and the counter to Thor is not Mutalisk, contrary to what you might think. It normally is a lot of Roaches. If you're able to swarm Roaches, those Roaches are able to just find their target and just simply take it out. You do need a larger number of Roaches, but Roaches are very easy to mass, unlike Thors. Back over here, another hatchery is down and in play. And Idra says this is going to be a fun game, isn't it? So both players just getting ready to just macro up, and for a long drawn-out macro battle. Mutalisk still flying across the map still. Another factory being built. So Filthy going with a very heavy mech strategy. I still do not see a reactor, so just a lot of Thors currently being built. And now perhaps some Hellions will be built as well. Another tech lab now being added on. Those Mutalisks are just going to get shot out of the sky so quickly. The pathogen glands on those infestors will allow them to get a lot of energy very quickly. And with the fungal growth dealing a lot of damage in a shorter amount of time, it feels, they're going to be able to deal a lot of damage very easily. Oh, the Mutalisk catching Hellions on the high ground. Those Hellions are not going to have anywhere to really run or anywhere to go. Hellion trying to hide in the shadows and unable to, and that Hellion will get taken down once more. So we are seeing a Terran running off of now 3 bases compared to a Zerg which will be running off of 4. We do have Infestors now being built as well. Those Infestors do take a little bit of time, so I believe he timed it just well enough so that all of those Infestors will start off with 75 energy, timing that pathogen gland so that the Infestor, that the pathogen gland researches beyond 30 seconds before the Infestors were started. Wow, talking a lot today, and my voice is starting to go. Mutalisk deciding to back off. Now at this stage in the game, with this many amount of Thors, and they are upgraded, 1-0 will be upgraded to 2-0, Idra has to be very careful with his army. If he just runs up and tries to beat his head against Filthy, he's going to have a very difficult time, as if Filthy's army is there, the sheer amount of damage and the sheer amount of units is going to be very difficult for him to outswarm. You can take a look at the army sizes, 177 compared to 141 in terms of food, but Idra does have a much larger gas army. But you also know that Filthy has a little bit more room to work with, as Idra is currently sitting on 100 drones. Mutal is still looking for a new target. They are upgraded 1-0. We are also getting neural parasite research and more infestors coming into play. Hellions trying to torch them, trying to make their way through. It looks like they will be able to torch some of those drones. One drone kill already, and it looks like 3 drone kills total before that was taken down. And in come those Mutalists. The Mutalists, oh wow, a lot of missile turrets right there. Mutalists being very careful to just use that splash damage from that glaive worm, and just to shut down the mining of the gas from the, and now another refinery getting destroyed there. So 2 refineries now getting shut down, and we see that Filthy is only running off of 3 bases compared to what will be 5 as soon as this hatchery is up and running. You can see Idra still mining a lot of gas, still has plenty of room to work with, as we are now going into the level 3 upgrades and the Terran building armor. Terran building armor upgrades the armor on missile turrets from 0 to 2, and minimizing the amount of damage that those Mutalists are also able to do. Army-wise, 44 versus 46-25. Who is going to win out in this battle? Hellions now trying to move out, and the Hellions got to be very careful. Oh, the Mutalists may be able to get a fungal growth, and now there goes one neural parasite. More neural parasites coming in, and Roach is trying to battle it out. A lot of damage being dealt across both sides still, as those Thors are now turning on each other. Very nicely done. A lot of Thors. You can see the Thors are now starting to release from their mind control, and Filthy may come out on the victor of that, as the mind control released just in time for those Thors to turn around and fire back. So Idra is in trouble. He is down in terms of army, or he was just a second ago, but now 23 roaches in production. So yeah, mass roaches coming out once again. 2-1 research, gonna get up to 2-2 in just a second. Pneumatized carapace is now being upgraded as well, so those overlords are going to be able to move much more quickly, as the Roach is now moving in once again, and the Thors turning on each other once again, and those Thors need to start attacking each other. Otherwise, as soon as that timer releases, oh, and Idra just doing a great job after losing his entire army in just a second, able to macro back up, and off of 6 hatcheries with 26 larvae, able to move out, and Idra just simply rolling over his opponent. You can see his mineral count at 5,000 minerals in the bank, almost at 200 food, and that's what you do not want to see against a Zerg player ever, as more and more spawn larvae means that we are going to get more and more battling out, more and more units just constantly replenish. Mass roaches on the move, dealing so much damage. It doesn't even matter if Banshees were to come out, as the Infestors would cast one fungal growth, followed by some infested Terrans, and those units would just be shot out of the sky. Greater Spire now coming into play, but really the game to talk about here was Idra losing almost his entire army for about 20 to 30 seconds, losing mass infestors, losing a lot of his roaches, and then being able to replenish it that quickly. That is the power of Zerg. Zerg, with that spawn larva, 6 production buildings, able to train up 50 to 60 food of units in 30 seconds. Really great game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you Zerg fans out there like this Idra style of play. Idra very much known for his macro, who sits back, gets just enough defense to hold off, and then explodes with a crazy, crazy army. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between FXO's Filthy and Evil Genius's Idra here on Metalopolis.